Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm your host, Michelle Stern. So, somebody sent me this. Thank you, Bright Eye. Thank you very much. And it says murder versus manslaughter. That is what this little video clip is about. And he is attorney at law, Davion L. Vassell. He styles himself the TikTok lawyer and believe he has a duty to explain things to his followers. And we want to thank him because he explained things to us too, and we appreciate it. So I'm going to let you listen to Davion, what he has to say, and his explanation of murder versus manslaughter. But before I play for you, I'm going to ask you kindly, would you give the video a thumbs up, please? Go ahead, please. Give the video a thumbs up and share as well. And of course, I appreciate it greatly and thank you in advance. And I must say, because I say encouragement, sweet labor, that you have all been doing a good job. I've been having over 1,000 likes, and that helps the video to go through the YouTube system. Yes, I must tell you, I explain to you how important your likes are. Yes. And of course, we appreciate your comments too, so feel free to comment as many times as you like. Yes. So let me let you hear Davion now, and then I'll rejoin with my own views.
Jamaica, I've been summoned to speak on this Jolan Silvera matter, and because I am the TikTok lawyer, I feel duty bound to explain to my followers. Now, for those who don't know, Mr. Silvera pleaded guilty for manslaughter, which is the killing of his wife. Now, murder and manslaughter are both homicides, and by homicide I mean the unlawful killing of a person. Now, the difference between murder and manslaughter is that manslaughter is the less of the two offenses. Murder requires intention, which is foresight of a virtual certainty that your actions will result in death or grievous bodily harm, while manslaughter requires recklessness, which means you foresaw risk and you took the risk anyway, which resulted in the death of a person. Now, Mr. Silvera, by virtue of his plea, is saying, I killed my wife, but I had no intentions of killing her. Now, the judge is to make a determination as to whether he could accept the plea of Mr. Silvera. Because Mr. Silvera was not charged for manslaughter, he was charged for murder, the more serious offense. Now, the Crown and the defense, by virtue of an act called the Criminal Justice Plea Negotiations and Agreements Act, can enter into agreements for a plea to be entered. However, under Section 10 of that act, the judge is not bound to accept that plea. But I'm not sure if there was a formal agreement under this act or it was an offer from the Crown which Mr. Silvera and his team accepted. Now, the only way though the judge can accept that plea, if there was no formal agreement, is if the facts of the case disclose the existence of manslaughter. Now, if manslaughter doesn't arise on the facts, then the judge can reject Mr. Silvera's plea. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, we understand and we read you loud and clear. So everybody upon the same page? Yes, this young man, this handsome young man, I must say, yes, very dashing and handsome looking, is Mr. Davion L. Vassell. He is a lawyer and he was a candidate for the Labour Party in East Central St. Andrew, if my memory serves me right. Yes, he was running against Mass Dennis Gordon. Mhm. And if anybody don't know what me I talk about, is Peter Phillips' old-time constituency. Yes. So he was a candidate and he was trounced, but it's for him to learn the ropes, and me would recommend anybody who going to politics. I want to win the heart and mind of the people. And they want to win the hearts and the minds of the people. Kind of wants what you want. Then go look up Portia playbook and see what Portia did do. And do the same thing. East Central St. Andrew have a whole heap of PMP, but here is a funny constituency. You have Maxfield full of PMP. You have Kesha Park full of JLP. And then you have Haglin in the middle. But enough people don't vote. Maybe more than 40% of the people don't vote. So there is where, sir, you can go. and see if you can get some people when I vote for you. Well, that is my little exchange for the good up information where you just give us, explaining everything plain as day for us to understand. So by now everybody know that the Chief Justice made a decision. But we're not going to talk about that in this video. We have another video, we're going to talk about it. And then I will tell you what I think about the ruling and whether we have anything for concern about yet. So what it is that Davion was explaining is that in our Star Chamber court, for those of you who don't know what the Star Chamber court is, one of them court from long time in England, 14th century, one of the kingdom put it in. And it was a secret court. And it's in knobs in the society mainly. Try in that the court there. Then they leave it to the ordinary court, that special court set up. Secret court. I do believe that that was the court that Henry VIII had him wife charged into. The Anne Boleyn, when they want to get rid of her to marry the other woman because she bore him a daughter and a son he want. He want a king. So that was that. In at the end, the British got rid of it because one of the royal set of family, them, I think Henry VIII and Film set of family, took advantage of the secret court and was doing all kinds of things with the court and all manner of injustice and persecuting the political opponents. So then them got rid of it. Now, at some point, we're going to have to get rid of our Star Chamber Court. And this might be a fine example and a fine time for the government to look at that act and decide whether we want a Star Chamber Court in our country. Now they might say, but wait, but if we get rid of the gun court, that going to pile up cases. No. All they're doing is getting rid of the act. Those judges will still be a part of the Supreme Court or the Circuit Court or whatever it is, or High Court or whatever it is, and the cases will continue. You simply don't have the name gun court anymore. So I would urge the parliamentarians to get rid of this court. And let me explain to you why. Just imagine a court with a single judge, no jury, no public scrutiny. So it's not transparent. There's nobody on the outside can walk in at that court. Only the lawyers, them, and whoever else supposed to be there. Clerk of the court and the stenographer. Only them alone. The lawyer for the accused and the prosecutor with the accused, not the doc. That is the scenario, right? This man is locked up in this room with all them people there, with a single man sitting on the bench to determine his fate. He is accused of murder, charged with a capital murder, or whatever they want to call it. And you're talking about a minimum sentence of 50 years. The crime involved a gun. That's why it ended up over there, so. But there is no jury. He is not to be tried by a jury of his peers. One source a judge. And it is that judge that is going to make the decision as to whether him guilty or not guilty and sentence him to a minimum of 50 years. For life sentence, a minimum of 40 years, and for non-capital murder, a minimum of 30 years. One man. And you tell me something is right about that? No. They need to get rid of the court and they need to put these trials before the jury of their peers and make them decide whether they're guilty or they're innocent. That is my view. And in this day and age of modern technology, we don't need a Star Chamber court to protect witnesses. I should think we would know that by now. So, now we understand a little bit more about the case, and the Chief Justice made his decision. We are now going to go into the last piece for now, and I'm going to tell you what me think about the Chief Justice ruling. Now, in his presentation, Davion had spoken about the plea deal, and he wasn't sure whether or not there was one or whether or not the prosecutor, the Crown, had approached them in that regard. Well, based upon what we heard, and a for them business if the media carry it wrong and we get it wrong. Too bad for them and them damn secret court. That is a consequence of not being transparent. But Nationwide reported that it was Silvera's lawyer who made the overture to have him plead guilty to manslaughter. Now, according to the law that Davion quoted, it is, if there was a deal, it is the prosecutor who would have gone to the judge to tell the judge that there was a deal. And then, as he said at Section 10, the judge does not have to accept the deal that they came to. Follow? Yes. So that's how we know more or less that there was no plea deal. He simply turned up to court and made this announcement that he wanted to plead guilty to manslaughter. And that is my understanding of what happened. So for now, let me sign off and say, remember, please give the video a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. Until next time, take very good care of yourselves and walk good.